the screen.
Happy Diwali to all ANMI members. Good evening, ANMI members and dignitaries. Today, we are happy to bring to you ANMI WR's 98th Knowledge Series webinar on the validation of all KYC records by KRAs in association with CDSL Ventures Limited. Consider the KRA's request for extension of the timeline. The validation of all KYC records, new as well as existing, shall commence from November 1, 2022. Our speaker today would throw more light on the subject. Now I welcome our speaker, Mr. Sunil Alvares, MD and CEO, CDSL Ventures Limited. Mr. Santosh Patil, AVP Operations, CDSL Ventures Limited. Ms. Sunanda Markande, SVP New Projects, CDSL Ventures Limited. And Mr. Arun Narasimhan, VP IT, CDSL Ventures Limited. I request Mr. Sunil Alvares, MD and CEO of CVL, to address our member with their kind words. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaibhav ji. At the outset, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy Diwali and a very prosperous New Year. And I would also like to thank you all for taking time out today to attend this webinar. As you are all aware that the earlier KYC, the responsibility was with the intermediary, and the KRA was only verifying the documents of the data which the intermediary was uploading in the system. Post the KYC amendments to the KRA regulations, it has been put on the KRAs to validate the data which is being uploaded by the intermediaries. There were certain clarifications which we had required from SEBI. So the earlier date of implementing the circular was 1st of July. And after seeking clarification on various issues, how to implement the circular, we sought an extension up to 1st of November. And on 1st of November, we will be going live with the circular. We are very happy to take any questions during this webinar so that we can clarify whatever questions to the best of our abilities. My team here is Mr. Santosh Patil, who is heading our KRA operations, and he's been with CDSL Ventures since 2006, and he has a lot of experience so far as KYC processing is concerned. With him, we have Sunanda Markande, who's Senior Vice President, who looks after overall operations in CDSL Ventures Limited. And I'm sure that we would be able to answer most of your questions satisfactorily. With this, I request Santosh to start off with the presentation.
So Sunil, instead of Santosh, I'll be taking the presentation.
Sorry?
I will be giving the presentation.
Yeah, carry on. Sorry. So yeah. Sunanda would be giving the presentation. Sunanda, you may please start.
Yeah. I'll just share my screen. Is my screen visible to all?
Yes. Carry on.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, as Sunil mentioned, I also extend my Diwali greetings to all of you. And what we'll be covering in this presentation is what are the changes that are going to come about from 1st November 2022. Okay. So what will be, I am on the agenda screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what I'll be covering is basically the background and the timeline, what we have to look at, then a brief summary, then what is it that we are going to do for the email and mobile validations, then how will the Aadhaar validations happen, what are the changes which will be incorporated in the CVL KRA, and the various documentation where it will be available, from where it can be sourced. So background and timeline, Sunil has already covered this. So basically, SEBI has come out with the guideline that we have to do the KRAs are required to do the validation for cases where Aadhaar is the OVD, that is the officially valid document which has been submitted by the investor. So that is what we are going to do post 1st November 2022. And as these various dates are now no longer significant, but basically initially when they gave the guideline, we did not know how to go about it. So various clarifications were sought. And after the clarifications were sought, we had a joint meeting with SEBI and UIDAI. Then post that, they came out with certain FAQs which have been disseminated to the various intermediaries. And after that, when the KRA circular was issued with the extension of the various timelines. And finally, it is culminated to the timeline of 1st November, where this implementation will take place for the new KYCs. And for the existing records, it will be 6 months from 1st November 2022. So basically, we are looking at validating those cases where Aadhaar is the OVD. Moving on to the next slide. So what we are required to do as a KRA is we have to do the email ID validation. Okay. Then we have to do the mobile number validation. Then third is we have to do the PAN validation, which we are already doing currently. And lastly, we have to do the Aadhaar validation. So we will go into the details in the subsequent slides. So for Aadhaar, there are different methods in which the Aadhaar is submitted by the investor. So how we are validating the different categories, that is shown. Then in the case of Aadhaar, we are supposed to do the validation of the name, the gender, the photograph, and the address. Okay. So in gender, we have added one additional category, which is the transgender. Earlier, it was only male and female. So the transgender category has been added. Then we have introduced a new status in the KYC, which is the KYC validated, that is the 07. So initially there was only verified status. So now we have added KYC validated, which is applicable for only the cases where Aadhaar is OVD. Then the validation can be done by two methods. One is the conventional method and other one is the API method. So both the options will be explained to you as we go along. And apart from that, there is a time frame within which this validation has to take place. So currently, as you are aware, the verification of the KYC is happening within 10 days. But going forward, wherever the Aadhaar is OVD, the validation of the KYC record has to happen within 2 days. So there is a substantial reduction in the tag wherever Aadhaar is the OVD document which has been provided. Moving on to the next slide. Is my screen now visible? Email and mobile validation slide. Slide number 5.
Yes.
Okay. So now there are two methods in which the email and the mobile validation can happen. One is the APIs are being provided to the intermediaries, where it is an automatic process where while the customer is being onboarded, during the onboarding journey itself, the email, the SMS and email can be validated. Okay, so this is the journey where when he is getting onboarded only, he will receive an OTP. The customer will receive an OTP on his mobile number as well as email ID, and he'll have to enter the details. And based on the successful entry of the mobile and the verification at our end, the mobile number and email ID will get validated. So this will be a seamless experience for the investor. Then the other one is the default process, where after the KYC is the record lands up at the KRA end, one SMS and email will be sent to the investor as a link. And he has to click on the link, and by clicking on the link, that email ID and mobile number will get validated. So if at all the OTP which is sent to the investor, he is not responding, then we will be validating the email ID and the mobile number based on the delivery notification which we receive. So then I'm going to the next slide. So this is about the email ID and mobile number validation. Now how we do the Aadhaar validation. In Aadhaar validation, the Aadhaar can be received by different modes. One is the physical mode. Okay, physical mode is where the customer is visiting the intermediary and over the counter and submitting the documents. In that case, it is the physical mode. So the KYC, which the Aadhaar will have a QR code which is imprinted on the Aadhaar. So we have to be able to read the QR code, and only if the QR code is successfully read, then we will be able to validate the record. And another thing is that the customer should not give the Aadhaar card as it is. It has to be, the Aadhaar number has to be masked and only the last 4 digits should be visible. So that is in the case of physical mode. So intermediary should ensure that the Aadhaar is properly masked and he should not submit the full Aadhaar number to the KRA. Then the second method is either he comes through an offline mode or the DigiLocker mode. In both these cases, there will be it will be either an e-Aadhaar or we will get the XML file from DigiLocker, and both of them will be KRA will be reading the data based from the QR code and validating the record against the details provided in the application form. Then the other one is the online eKYC option, where again we will be validating the records which is downloaded from UIDAI. So what we will be validating is the name, the gender, the photograph, and the address. So these are the 4 parameters which we will be using while validating the Aadhaar. Moving on to the next slide. What are the changes that we are going to see in the CVL KRA? So first is that the investor consent. Initially, the KRA was taking the investor consent for only sharing the details with the intermediary. Now the consent has been modified to share the details with the intermediary as well as the KRA. So the content has been published by CVL KRA and it's available on the website, and the intermediaries are required to incorporate the same in their respective forms and applications. Then next is the KYC modification. Earlier, we were allowing some 5 attributes to be modified without the requirement of a KYC modification form. Okay, but now we are giving this procedure will no longer be allowed. Any changes to the KYC details will have to be supported with a KYC modification form, and that will either be e-signed if it is submitted online, or if it is submitted in physical mode, then the wet signature will have to be provided on the form. This is mandatory and there will be no modifications allowed without the supporting KYC modification form. Now we are also, to facilitate the validation process, we are also providing APIs to the intermediaries, but this is an optional service. So those intermediaries who want to avail of the service can avail of the service. And this will facilitate, as I mentioned earlier, it will ease the onboarding journey. Then the changes to the file structure have also been published by us. The API the validation will be on a real-time basis, as against in the other method where it will be a post-mortem validation. So it will be convenient that he will receive the, while onboarding itself, the OTP will be received by the customer. Then the file structure changes, that also we have published, and that has to be consumed by the intermediaries. And with a new KYC status has been introduced, which is the 07. So for some time, both the status will coexist. That is, initially the verified KYC verified records will continue to show as 02 till they are validated. And once they're validated, then the status will show as 07. So for a period of 180 days from 1st November, you might see two status, even if it is a Aadhaar OVD case, there might be 02 cases and as well as 07 cases. 07 which will be those which have been validated, and 02 would be which are pending, those which are pending validation. And for non-Aadhaar cases, there will be no change to the current process. Those are not being validated, and the TAT also will remain the same for such cases. Now, in the case of modification, we are also saying that the investor is required to submit a verifiable e-sign document. That is, when the intermediary is submitting the KYC modification to us, that we have to be able to verify the e-signature. So that is another change which needs to be incorporated by the intermediaries. Moving on to the next slide. The documentation which is available for CVL KRA, we have provided this KRA process note which has been circulated in October. Then the API document, which is an optional facility which we are providing to the intermediaries. Then what are the changes to the API, or originally whatever was the API document, what changes are there that we have given a separate document so that the intermediaries will be able to identify what changes have been incorporated. Then SFTP document, that is what are the changes in the folders where the documents, images, etc. have to be placed, that, and changes in the file structure. As we told you, some new fields have been introduced. So the changes to the file structure also available on our website. And the Aadhaar consent content, that is what is the new consent which has to be taken from the investors. Now, this is not applicable for NRIs and for non-individuals, this validation process. So the link for these documents we can share after this. So that's it from my side. I've come to the end of the presentation. I thank you and welcome you to ask whatever questions and doubts you may have.
Santosh sir, I've pasted a question in chat box. Can you answer?
Yes, madam.
This presentation can be shared by email.
Verification is done on online basis. Is that the word? Verification.
So Mr. Dwarka Prasad Singh is asking, hello, is it possible that the verification is done on an online basis? In other words, the verification by broker as well as KRA is carried out simultaneously.
Yeah, I Santosh here. Okay. The presently as verification done at CVL KRA and intermediary. Okay, intermediary is doing the maker type of data, and KRA has make the modification, the maker and checker also. Okay, we have the presently we have the OCR system also. So once you upload the data on my portal, then only we start the validation first for sending the email, OTP on email and mobile. Okay, and for validation of the Aadhaar. So this is simultaneously work done by our side only. Okay, so once you upload the data, that after that start that process, and subsequently we are starting the document verification part also. So there will be a chance that we are giving the verification status in the T+2 presently. Okay, and subsequently we try that for real time also. The Priti Gara document of email mobile validation API document. of email of documentation, document of email into API. Still not. Okay, API document, that is optional. Okay, so if you require that API document, we'll share that document with the required person. Okay, you can share the email with us. So based on that, we can share the document with you. Because that is not for, we are not giving that for public. Okay, wherever that demanding require API document, we will share there only.
So whether to send the mail?
Yeah, we'll share that. Pretty have that. Virendra Naik, old consent KRA form can be acceptable after first November. No, we said that no, we require the consent form only because as per the new SEBI requirement for validation, we require some database from your side like XML file or offline Aadhaar based XML or QR code database. Okay. So that is information we require from your side, that is require the consent with the consent only. So we require here consent on the application form. Content are not visible.
So the old consent is only talking about sharing the information with the intermediary. So now since the information has to also be shared with the KRA, the consent content is undergoing a change. So that is why the new content would be required.
The next question is from Preeti Gada. What extra consent is needed if only one e-sign process needs to be taken ahead? I'll answer this question slightly differently. Is that as per the KRA regulations, the intermediary has to share only the KYC form along with the proof of address and with the proof of ID. Now, if you are planning to do only one e-sign, you will be sharing his entire Demat account opening form, his entire broking form, his entire financial details, etc. with the KRA. And then once it goes into the KRA, any other intermediary who fetches that record, okay, they will also have access to all that information. So that is a call you will need to take from your compliance team, whether you are in compliance of sharing this information. As KRAs, we will not tell you yes, whether you should share it or not share it. If the record comes to me if that record comes to me, we will process it. But yes, we will take an undertaking from you that you have taken care that there is no violation of the investor's confidential details. The next question is from Mr. One second. The next question said contents are not visible. Please do share the full screen of the PPT. What we will do is we will share the email, we will share the PPT with ANMI and then request them to share it with the rest of the ANMI members. The next question is from Dwarika Prasad Singh. It says, kindly share CVL Aadhaar consent format.
We are already shared that document on my site. Okay, we'll share that link to them. No problem. After completing the webinar, we'll share the link.
Govindraj Pandian, when can we get the UAT for testing the cases before we go live?
We're already giving the UAT to all market intermediaries. Okay, if you want that, you can write us. We can share the UAT credential with you.
Then Mr. Nitin Joshi is asking, is it mandatory to have the flag of new modification flag on the form?
No, that is not required. If you proceed with the modification application, you have to raise the request as a modification. It's not necessary you click on you update the tick on the modification form. Umesh Joshi, if the CVL is down, it's rare. Then we unable to find new and modification KRA status from PAN check API. In this case, what you suggest? Here we suggest you, sir, while you using the API, so there could be sharing some status with you. There's a 888. Whenever we are not checked with any KRA, any record, while any other site is down, like NDML down, .x down. So in that case, we suggest that you take a digital signature of that particular customer, and before sending the request to us, you just check the status and then send the request.
Next question is from Nitin Joshi. The Aadhaar XML will be encrypted. What will be the approach in this case? The approach is very simple. When you upload the images, you have to also upload the XML along with it. And we will validate the XML with the data, metadata which you have submitted to us. Next question.
Zip file is what is encrypted, I think. Which one? Aadhaar XML will be encrypted.
If any XML come through DigiLocker, this is open source. This is not encrypted, and any XML come through the offline Aadhaar base, that also under open source only, because intermediary is getting that zip file from the offline Aadhaar, but while they release to us, they're giving that XML file only. So there's not a encrypted. So there we don't require anything. Yeah. Ms. Mamta Shakti, do I need to? Nitin Joshi, yeah, Vikas Parashar. Is the validation is processed till 2 days? 9 to 6. Yeah, presently, initially we go for the 2 days only, okay. But subsequently we go for real time, same day also or real time also. If the document part and you are providing the data as per the requirement, so that goes to real time also. 9 to 6 on last slide, not applicable for another. Yeah, presently. That the process is not applicable for NRI and non-individual. So you can go with the same for non-individual and NRI as it is, same process. Yeah, Mamta Shakti. Do I need to wait for KYC to be validated before allowing client to trade? Can client trade while KYC is process? Okay. As per the SEBI circular, says that without validated status, you can't allow the investor to trade anywhere or allowing the purchasing any unit in the mutual fund. Pranav Mausar, if client wants to open account with mobile or email ID, which is updated in his or her KRA details, can we allow it? You can allow it. Next question is Pankaj Patil. Kindly guide about KYC modification cases. What is requirement? No, here depend upon request received from the customer. If any change, okay, while online or physical mode, if any change received from the customer, then only you go for the modification. Vignesh Khetia, hi. I have a question regarding marriage maiden cases where client name as per PAN is pre-marriage and Aadhaar is having new name. So the name will not match 90% as you said. Then how the name validation will be work here? Jignesh, here I said that applicant has to change the name on the Aadhaar card as well as the PAN card, because earlier we have accept that cases based on that marriage certificate and all this thing, but now onward it's difficult to manage that cases in the online models, because this process we are streamlined with the OCR system as well as the matching concept of the that validation.
Santosh, I would request to read the questions out aloud. People are unable to hear you.
Question Santosh will answer. Virendra Nayak, for modification of email, mobile and gender, shall CVL require a client PAN card along with the modification form. Is the PAN card a mandatory document with the modification form?
No, for 6 attribute, under the 6 attribute, we are not asking the supporting document. Okay. If you seen a document, we prepare one document based on the SEBI circular, where we are already giving that explanation of the 6 attribute fields. We require only application form. If customers come through online portal, we require one application with the e-sign. If customer come through offline mode, like physical, we require only application with the physical sign. Yeah, next question.
Dheeraj Vaishnav.
Yeah.
For updation of father's name, marital status, mobile, email, except application form, any other documentation is required?
Is not required, because we said that earlier also, that for 6 attributed, we require only application form only in the case of modification, and that request should be come under the non-supporting document. Yeah,
Aniruddha Basak. What if Aadhaar XML formats are different for online Aadhaar zip as well as DigiLocker? Which format to send to KRA?
No, we'll manage the show, no issue, because as per the we are setting that process based on the XML received from the offline Aadhaar or DigiLocker.
So any format is okay.
Yeah.
Nikhil Sharma, we need to combine modification form like mobile, email and address change. Still, we have not received 2 forms. First, new with modification. Second, email and mobile change. Mobile form with email. Now, we are not clear on this question. We need to combine modification form like mobile, email and address change. Still, we have received.
You can use that single form also, or you can use that both separate form also. So there is no worry for us.
Pranav Bhavsar, if client wants to change his mobile or email ID with broker, is it mandatory to update the same on KRA portal?
We have not said that he is mandatory to update email and mobile on the KRA system. That is a customer call. We are not insist to them.
No, I'll answer that differently. I think the KRA regulations are very clear, saying that if any changes are there in the demographic details of the client and the intermediary is aware of it, then they should try and upload it in the KRA. That's what the regulations say.
Jignesh Ketia. Thanks for the reply. One more, Santosh sir. If the client got onboarded and validated from KRA end, but after a few months or days, customer KRA status changed to reject. So which status to be considered?
But once that status has validated, okay, that we are not rejecting after that, no. So there is a 2 scenario. One is if any requests, fresh requests come with me, and we are updating the status as a KYC validated for after all the validation has been done from CVL KRA. Okay, and after that, if we are receiving any modification on the same record, and subsequently that rejection has been happened for any validation purpose or any document deficiency. In that case, we have to go with the primary status only as a KYC validated.
Mahesh Chandra.
Mr. Mahesh Chandra, this KRA validation should be link up with the exchange portal, because the code is activated only after getting exchange approval. So that no, this moment that is not linked with exchanges. Clementina Lopes, is the customer photograph mandatory for modification basis? Yes, in case of address modification, and we require the photograph on the application form. This is a mandatory requirement. Jignesh Khetia. But sir, ma'am, if the modification received and which there is some mismatch, then there is a chance for rejection. If modification received in which there is some mismatch. If a mismatch in the validation part or documentation part, yes, that record goes for the rejection only. Mamta Shetty. If NRI come with the Aadhaar OVD, it is no, we are not taking NRI under the validation part at present. Pranav Bhausar, how broker will get status of existing client process of validation is done by KRA, whether it is verified or not, and what action broker need to be taken. So existing clients process of validation is done by. We'll come back to you for that existing record because still we are not set the process for the existing KYC. But as and when we receive the modification on existing record, we go with the validation and we make the validation and update the status as a validated. Rakesh Waghela, in what all cases do we need to send e-sign annexure PDF to KRA? At present, yes, you should provide the e-sign document to KRA for the further validation of KYC and process of the KRA. Yeah, Dheeraj Vaishnav, from 1st November, before actual account opening in back office and creating UCC KRA of the client should be register validated. Yeah, wherever you are creating any KYC from 1st November, that KYC should be a back office.
Yeah, that is submitted.
Client should be registered. Yeah, client should be registered or validated only. Mahesh Chandar, if Aadhaar is validated once, then there should not be a repeated validation. Yeah, if the address remains same, so intermediary, why should intermediaries make the modification again on the same record? Okay, so that part should be handled by intermediary only. We also think about that, but that part should be handled by intermediary because once the customer comes through their online portal, before taking any modification, intermediary should show the existing data to applicant. Okay, and based on that only you accept the modification. Rakesh Waghela, is it only for modification or new KRA cases as well? There is a both because if any modification you come with the Aadhaar based KYC and there will be the change of address. Okay, in that case we are taking the records for the validation only, or any existing KYC register as under Aadhaar only. Okay, and now you come with the new address as a Aadhaar also for updation of new address. That time also we are taking the validation. For Rakesh Waghela, regarding e-sign annexure PDF. E-sign annexure. I am not understanding that question regarding the e-sign annexure PDF.
Your query is not clear.
That's it, ma'am. One more query.
Rakesh Waghela. It is only for modification or new KYC. Just right. Rakesh ji, that process should be for both KYC, fresh KYC also as well as the modification also. We said that wherever you come with the make the KYC using the Aadhaar, okay, so that particular record goes under the validation. Anand, it is all about Annexure J only. Only Annexure J. Rakesh, you talking about the application form, Annexure J something? Mr. Anand B, whether we have to block from our side for KRA not verified client or by you? Same as has to handle by your side only, because we are handling only KRA status. If we are updating the KRA status only. If all the documents or validation has been done, we are updated as a validated. If not, we are keeping as a hold. Mr. Virendra Naik, if the address proof is unclear, but CVL can take data from the UIDA database via QR code, then an unclear Aadhaar will suffice. We say no, because QR code database we are taking from the QR code, read with the QR code, but if any proof is not readable or not legible, that is also issue for the further other intermediary, because they are, once they download the document, in that case they go with the actual document only. Umesh Joshi, what happened for the request raised till 31st October and it is under process or hold? If any request pending at RN till 31st October, okay, we go for rejection on by 15th of November only. So before 15th of November, we request you clear all the deficiency of document, or you submit the requested document to us for the clearance of that hold and submit. Pankaj Patil, every modification KRA validation need to be do. I say yes, if you process the KYC using the Aadhaar. Already, Mr. Anand B, already KRA verified customer, we require to validate proof expiry date. Already KRA verified customer we require that. Yeah, if customer earlier shared that passport copy or driving license or bank statement, okay, then you need to check the validity as per the SEBI said that. If the document is not valid, you just discuss with your compliance. But we said that you should check the validity period. We will share that link of that suppose that our document. Okay, there's a draft document for on the SEBI circular document. Based on that, you can see the key, what are the fields under the 6 attributed. Mahesh Chandar, it is not possible to scan the QR code with the copy of Aadhaar card copy. How will the code be validated in that case? Sir, here we suggest that if that QR code is not readable on copy of the Aadhaar, you take that e-Aadhaar copy from the customer, e-Aadhaar digital copy from the customers. No other option is available. If Mr. Nikhil Sharma, if KYC is registered other agency, NDML, NSC, CAMS, CARVI, can we modify through CVL interoperability through API? Yes, you can do that. We have that facility. You can make the modification using my API. Shubhang Rastogi. District field is mandatory in KRA form, but from DigiLocker we receive blank value. No, district field is not mandatory. It's an optional field. Any other questions?
That's all, sir. Do you want to give any other remarks apart from this?
No other remarks. There might be some practical experiences which we may encounter once we go live.
Right.
So as of now, it is a little difficult to say anything. We just follow the circular.
Okay, fine. So we can wind up, right? I'll give vote of thanks. I would like to thank Santosh ji, Sunanda ji, and Mr. Sunil sir for taking out time from the busy schedule to address ANMI members and answering all their queries related to validation of KYC by the KRAs. This webinar will surely be going to help members in maintaining KYC records. I also thank ANMI members for attending the same. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Shital will share that document link to your mail. I will reply to you.
Sure, sir. No problem.
Okay.
Thank you,
Sunil ji.
Thank you, Vaibhav.
Thank you, Santosh ji. Thank you, Sunanda ji.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you. Thank you, Shital.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.